Intermittent fasting is an eating pattern that cycles between periods of fasting and eating. It doesn't specify which foods you should eat, but rather when you should eat them. It's not a diet in the conventional sense, but more accurately described as an eating pattern. Common intermittent fasting methods involve daily 16-hour fast or fasting for 24 hours, twice per week. There are several different ways of doing intermittent fasting, all of which involve splitting the day or week into eating and fasting periods. During the fasting periods, you eat either very little or nothing at all.
In 1945, intermittent fasting enters the picture. It was observed that intermittent fasting was extending the life of mice. This form of fasting began to take popularity in the early 2000s and seen as a much better option than the full starvation fasting methods of the early 1800s.
Next is the concept for the diet for low or high fat, protein, and carb. The first one is low or high fat. Intermittent fasting diet in conjunction with a lower calorie diet may be the most effective method for weight loss and a flat belly. In a short 8-week randomized experiment, an overweight or obese woman who fasted 3 days a week and only ate a lower calorie diet lost more weight and had a better cardiometabolic indicators than those who simply fasted and only restricted their calorie intake or did neither. Consuming a healthy form of fat during our fasting period may be also beneficial if weight loss isn't our main goal.
Next is protein. Protein is important for intermittent fasting diet. By aiming 4 to 6 ounces of protein sources such as beef, chicken, and fish, it can provide protein enough for bodily function and avoid muscle atrophy. For carbohydrate, by lowering the carbohydrate, it will generate a ketosis. Intermittent fasting diet with a low carb diet seeks to reduce blood sugar and burn fat.
We need to take avocado. Avocado are medium calories fruits that help to reduce adiposity and contain nutrients such as fibers, phytochemicals. Next is whole grain provide a lot of fibers and protein to eating a little goes a long way towards keeping you full. Lastly is how much water you should consume depend on various aspects such as age or weight. Adults should drink minimums of 8 glasses that help to improve your blood and prevents dehydration.
So, while following an intermittent fasting diet, we must avoid foods like snacks, cakes, and candies. All of these foods are sweet and contain large amounts of sugar and fat, which is not good to be consumed while on this kind of diet. In fact, while on this diet, we need to cut sugar in the foods we eat. We need to reduce all foods that contain high sugar content so that the numbers of calories can be controlled more easily.
One of the medicine studies that was published in New England Journal of Medicine has discovered that intermittent fasting boosts working memory in animals and verbal memory in adult humans. It is also improved blood pressure and resting heart rate as well as other heart-related measurements. It also stated that young men who fasted for 16 hours shows fat loss while maintaining muscle mass. And in animal studies, intermittent fasting prevented obesity, and in 6 brief studies, obese adult humans lost weight through intermittent fasting.
Okay, for scientific evidence, we have 5 methods to get one good results. The first one is observation. Observation is a very important thing. That is the first line. The second one is question. We must ask the questions to know the scientific evidence. The third one is hypothesis. Hypothesis we must do in every scientific evidence. So number 4 is normally we can hear in our lab. There is experiment. Experiment is also important things to do. The last one is conclusion. The conclusion we must do after do an experiment. We must do a conclusion, and then we can get a good result at the end. So this is 5 methods to get one last result. that is for scientific evidence. So in conclusion is all things must we do to get a scientific evidence in the last. Thank you.
Okay, we obtain this important information and link from Facebook and Instagram, which is it explains about this intermittent fasting diet group. In this information, I want to share you tips that you need to do when you are having your intermittent fasting diet. Okay, firstly, hydrate with water, unsweetened teas and coffee. Second, you need to stock up on foods high in nutrients, protein and healthy fats. Next, we need to eat a lot of fibrous veggies and fresh food. And last but not least, use the fast as a time to focus on tasks and healthy activities.
The second link, which is from the Instagram, that mostly the content is about the recipe that help the diet person to take a healthy food when they are doing the diet. The third link is from the Facebook, which is mostly the group is for the beginner that try the fasting diet, and they will update their progress to make sure that they do the right thing and wait for the admin comment on what they should do next. That's all from us. Thank you.